Good morning, good morning. How we doing, everybody? Life is good, life is beautiful. All things are possible to those who believe. I got Mr. Deion Sanders, prime time up there. What's going down with the prime time? They're talking about you got a lot of players that are getting in the portal, and you get an opportunity to hear the mother speak about prime and what's going on. You get to hear the father speak about prime of what's going on. So finally, Money Mike said, hold up a minute. Let me talk about prime. And I looked at this and I said, okay, because, I always talk to y'all when I talk about prime. I got to talk about my guy. Old Coach JB, that's my guy. And JB, you know what, man? This is what I'm going to tell you, baby. You were the portal before the portal became the college portal. And that's what I mean, folks. So if you look here, you got Kermani McClain. Man, that's a good football player. Okay, but the deal goes down like this. And for all the recruits and all you guys going to look at the transfer portal, go try to head up to Colorado, let me break it down, tell you what's going on. There's a whole lot of competition up there, okay? Because you guys got to understand something. A lot of times when you hear Prime say, I got this player and I got that player, he ain't telling you about the player that everybody just showed up. Okay, there's a couple cats that rolled in school, showed up, and they went out there and hit the field, and they talk about, man, oh, man, who's this joker? Okay, who's this joker? That's what you call him. And but at the end of the day, I always believe in one system. The parents, your child, you're always right. I believe the parents got a right to do whatever they want, okay, when it comes to making a decision for their children. But here's what I'll tell you in my experience of recruiting and being around it, man, oh, man, you can't run from no competition. That's impossible to do because at the end of the day, wherever you're going to go, there's an incumbent sitting there. There's an incumbent, okay? Incumbent means there's somebody already number one on the depth chart, number two on the depth chart, number three on the depth chart, and maybe number four on the depth chart. Okay, that's how the game is played. So when you went to Alabama with Nick Saban, man, that depth chart was deep. And I told y'all a long time ago what's going to happen with Prime. That depth chart going to get built up, and that depth chart ain't built for everybody. Okay, so let me break it down so you really understand. For anybody there, okay, that's getting held up, not getting opportunity, one thing I know when you get to the Power 5, the D1, they put everything on film. Okay, they got your warm-up drills on film. They got the one-on-one on film. They got the 7-on-7 on film. They got the 11-on-11 on film. Okay, and if it ain't looking good on film, at the end of the day, okay, you got to just say it is what it is because with Prime, that's an NFL program. I repeat, with Deion Sanders prime time, that's an NFL program. Now, there ain't no portal in the NFL. Okay, I repeat, there ain't no portal in the NFL, which means you just get released. You become a free agent, okay? So at the end of the day, man, you got to put this in perspective because I take it back to Coach JB because the junior colleges used to get all the players. That's what's called the portal back then. Okay, that's who used to get the players back then. That was the junior colleges. But now you got a whole bunch of guys that are going out of there, and this is a whole different game now, folks. And I'm going to tell you about this cat. Okay, you got old Dalen Edwards up there, man. That's super speed, super fast. And, man, you try to take him down off the number one on the depth chart, man, you're going to be coming in there hot and heavy. Now, everybody gets an opportunity. You get the spring game, you get the camp, you're going to have the season, you play in the best competition. Okay, so when you get into this, and, folks, let me make it simple for you. Let me just make this real simple for you. And I'm going to break it down a little way because I'm going to take you back to JUCO. I went to City College of San Francisco. Man, that's one of the biggest under George Rush. That's one of the biggest programs I've ever seen. And, I had to get my eyes opened up, all right? And it went down like this, folks, because I'm sharing. I know what's happening at Colorado. Man, they had me, I felt good about myself. I was first team San Francisco free safety. The progress like me, the examiner like Daryl McCoy, okay? So when I had to go up City College San Francisco, and I played 1 year at Mac, I went up City College San Francisco, man, and let me tell you, that competition was high. Okay, that competition was high. In fact, if I played today, I probably would have jumped in the portal. But here's what I understood. Okay, when you get up there in the land, as my high school coach, Coach Griffin, was like, man, you need to go, man, I'm going where the talent is. Okay? And when you get up there and where the talent is, man, you're going to find out a whole lot about yourself. You're going to find out. One thing I found out is that you can play a rainy, muddy game and your uniform in white, like you looking at Dayland. Man, there wasn't no mud on my uniform. That first year, man, I had to learn how to be a man in a man's program. Okay, and we had, man, I'm talking about a program, we had 40 scholarships and ain't but 22 starters. Okay, I want you to imagine that. Coach Rush had 40 scholarships, but they're only 22 starters, so they going beyond the depth chart. So what am I saying here? Man, there's competition up there in Colorado. So to save Deion and a whole lot of people a lot of trouble, man, if that young man ain't ready to compete, man, you don't want to go to Colorado. But if you ready to get in the mix and become the best you can be, then you want to go to Colorado. Because I'm going to tell you now, as this depth chart gets built, I tell everybody right now, Colorado ain't for everybody. Okay? Colorado is not for everybody. It may look good, smell good, feel good, but one thing I know about Prime, when you arrive in Colorado, you're going to go to work. Okay? You're going to be held accountable. Okay? You're going to have to get in there. And folks, understand this, when you go in there, you might not be the starter, okay? And like I said at Seton Cisco, man, I didn't get going until about Game 7. And then, you know, Coach Rush, man, I even had to get moved over from a DB to wide receiver. Okay, I had to go to wide receiver, man, because all the receivers got hurt. And I said to myself, Coach Rush, we ain't even put the pads on, man. I'm a DB, man. All right, I'll go to wide receiver. Ain't no problem, okay? But at the end of the day, by the time I got over there, because guys got injured, but he didn't tell me there were 7 more guys coming in. Okay, and these guys are D1, 4-4 speed. But you know what? I went in that weight room, strapped it up, you know, went in there benching about 150 pounds, 175 when I got there, left out of there at 315 on the bench. You know, and I ain't weighing but 165, 70 pounds. But, okay, when it came to practicing, man, let me tell you something. If you can't practice, football is about all the plays that happen in football happen in practice. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We powered by Fanatics. And I'm going to tell you something about Prime, man. You get the best of the best. You get to go first class. But they ain't serving no wine before it's time up in Colorado. Okay, so until you can put it on film, you can get on that field, man, you might feel good about yourself. But it ain't going to feel good enough because at the end of the day, let me tell you what you got, folks. You got running backs going to leave, heading to Michigan State, man, go on down there. I ain't got no problem with nobody leaving because at the end of the day, man, you got to ride with who with you. And there's a whole lot of cats up there with them. And these guys who are leaving, they're good running backs. But, man, they just took a look at Dalen Edwards and said, man, okay. Because at the end of the day, folks, you know, it's everybody reports on this. The only way you hear so much about Deion in the portal, let me tell you why. Because he's prime time, okay? But if you look at all the other schools, they losing just as many players as Deion Sanders, okay? They created it, okay? They created it. He came in and has put a program together. But here's what I believe, man. I gotta really check myself for some of the things they're asking people to do at Colorado. I mean, who's going to walk in to a program that is a losing program, and now you're judging him on his first year, okay, and he's supposed to go out there and be in the playoffs? Man, y'all overrating yourself. That's not how football is done. Anybody's coached this game, man, it takes you 3 years to get a program going, okay? He's going to be better next year, and he'll be better the next year after that, okay? And as far as where he wants his sons to go, what he has to do, man, that's up to him. Okay, but he knows these owners. He knows the players. He played in Atlanta, and he's played in Dallas, man. And the whole deal is, it make it simple because, you know, you get back to the Mannings and Archie Manning, okay, when he had his son, Eli, you get back to John Elway when he had his son, man. And let me tell you something, man. Everybody know Prime. All right, everybody know Prime. Prime like, hey, man, you know what? You don't even got to play, okay? So you don't have to go to the meetings. You don't have to show up. You don't have to do none of that. That's what Prime is saying. Because Prime is doing it just the way he did it, and that's the way it worked for him, and that's the way it's going to work for his boys. You get up in there, look here, man. I ain't going to show up for a meeting to meet with you. I ain't going to show up for no meeting. I don't care. I'm not even trying to play for you. And when a player comes and tells you that, man, you better take heed to that because you ain't going to force none of Deion's players to do anything they don't want to do. He looking out for them from end to end. Most coaches, you just play for them. Prime Time looks out for his players from end to end. And I've had a lot of athletes, man. That's one thing I don't preach is transfer. Because the reason you're transferring, it could be a multitude. Not 100%, but most of the time, it's competition. Because the real players know when you line up, man, and you get in that spring game and you've been cracking them pads for a minute, the real players know. And you know where you at on that depth chart. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. This is prime time. This is Colorado. Okay, they playing Big 12, getting it in. Okay, they didn't dissolve the Pac-12. And if a player wants to go up to prime time, I tell every mama and every daddy, man, let me tell you, if it ain't about your boy working every day, getting to practice, getting the meetings on time. Because, see, when you get to the NFL, they don't tolerate you not going to a meeting. They don't tolerate you not practicing hard, okay? And so at the end of the day, man, you can move around, shake around, and do whatever you got to do to make it better for yourself. But, Money Mike, my advice, if you get up to Colorado, man, you stick in, you stay your 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you graduate, and you go ahead and look at the future. Because what Deion is lining up for you play for Colorado, man, you got a future, okay? You got a future in business. You got a future in employment, okay? Because all these guys ain't going to the league, okay? They're going to knock on the door. And for whatever reasons, some players just don't. And I'll tell you another little secret, folks. When it comes to this game of football, some players just decide they don't want to play no more. I'm just keeping it 100. They get up in there and they find out what it really is, and they don't want to do it, okay? And the pressure of you being a star, man, that'll take you down. That'll take you down to the ground. So, Money Mike's just telling y'all what it is because I know what it's going to be. And when you're dealing with prime time, man, you got to go up there. You have to be prime time. Now, he ain't pushing nobody out the door. Because at the end of the day, what Prime is saying, man, you got to come in, work hard. You got to practice. You got to hit the books. You got to be on time, okay? Especially if you got a coach named Prime Time. The worst thing you could do is not be on time, okay? I repeat, if you got a coach named Prime Time, the worst thing you could do is not be on time, okay? And you got to look at this thing differently because at the end of the day, this football, folks. And one thing I tell you about football, only the cream gonna rise to the top, okay? Only the cream gonna rise to the top. And Prime has got a lot of cream up there. And you know what? Everybody don't want no cream with their coffee. Some people just like it black. So that's what you got. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. So all that talking everybody doing, all Prime ain't going to do this and Prime ain't going to do that. You know what we got now, folks? It's getting ready to be prime time. You ain't got but a few more months. And then you're going to look at chapter number 2. See, but don't get hung up on prime time in chapter number 2 because you got to get hung up. The real deal is going to be prime time chapter 3, that third year. Because, see, everybody going to settle on in now and he can go ahead and just run it on out. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered by Fanatics, and we're bringing to you the prime time and all the transfer portal. Don't be fooled, folks. He's prime time now, so he's getting national media. But every other university also has got a lot of players getting in the portal. Okay, the portal list has gotten so long, and now they forced the high school students going to have to go to junior college. Okay, this thing has changed the landscape. And if you're not ready to work, okay, you're not ready to work, then you ain't going to be on the prime time. You ain't going to be on the big stage. So do what you have to do. Like I always close and finish, all things are possible to those who believe. And to the parents out there who players are transferring from Colorado, here's what I want to tell you. That is your child. You have a right to do what you want to do, and you can have them go wherever you want, okay? I always believe in that. And when one's walking out, there's another one walking in. That's how the game goes, folks. This is college football. It's a corporate enterprise business. Okay, they're about having revenue streams, and when you win, the biggest revenue stream you get is you get college students coming in there, and they want to go to Colorado. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to follow this one out. We're going to pick it up, and we're going to stay with Prime Time because I'm going to give you the behind the scenes what's really going on. We'll see you soon. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Podcast.